Greetings to all viewers of Peace and Dharma. In this impermanent life, we cannot avoid fluctuating emotions, unintended words that cause harm, or challenges that seem insurmountable. But do you know that these very experiences serve as the foundation for us to turn inward, seek mindfulness, and find true peace in each moment? Today, let us embark on a journey of reflection, where we not only explore mastering emotions and the art of communication, but also learn how to overcome difficulties through the light of the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha once taught, anger is like fire, it burns the one holding it before it can harm anyone else. In the whirlwind of modern life, it is easy for negative emotions such as anger, sadness, or envy to dominate our minds. These feelings not only harm ourselves but also cause suffering to those around us. However, emotions are not inherently flawed, it is how we react to them that matters. When faced with negative emotions, do we give in and let them control us, or do we find ways to remain calm and clear-minded? Buddhist teachings explain that all emotions arise from interdependent causes and conditions. Understanding the roots of their arising allows us to regain mastery over ourselves. In the first part of this program, I will share with you simple yet effective practices to identify and control emotions, ensuring a peaceful mind amidst life's uncertainties. Buddhist scriptures often mention right speech as a crucial aspect of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right speech involves speaking truthfully, beneficially, and compassionately without causing harm. Yet, in our daily lives, how often do we forget this principle? An unintentional remark can become an invisible dagger, leaving scars in another's heart. In communication, the Buddha teaches, speak words like flowers, so that when they fall to the ground, they still spread fragrance. This means that our words should not only be truthful, but also imbued with compassion and wisdom. Achieving this, however, is not always easy, especially during moments of tension or conflict. How can our words become bridges between hearts instead of walls of division? How can we ensure that every word we utter brings warmth and love? In the second part of this program, we will delve deeply into the power of words and learn how to apply right speech in daily life. When faced with adversity, we often view it as an injustice brought by life. However, under the light of Buddhist wisdom, difficulties are not obstacles but lessons to cultivate wisdom and patience. The Buddha once said, "No one can bathe in the same river twice, for the water is always flowing, and everything changes." Life is the same. The challenges we face today will not last forever. However, how we respond to them shapes who we are and the journey ahead. In moments of hardship, rather than blaming or lamenting, Buddhism encourages us to practice patience and perseverance. Patience is not passive endurance but a firm inner peace, unaffected by external circumstances. Perseverance, on the other hand, is the tireless effort to overcome difficulties using our inner strength. In the third part of this program, I will share ways to transform hardships into opportunities for personal growth, drawing on the Buddha's teachings and practical methods. Dear viewers, today's program is not merely a theoretical discussion but an invitation to practice what we learn to improve our daily lives. The Buddha taught, the Dharma is like a raft that helps one cross the river, but to reach the shore of enlightenment, each person must row the boat themselves. Today's journey is like such a raft. I invite you to step aboard, so together, we can explore how to master emotions, maintain inner peace, communicate with compassion and wisdom, and turn challenges into opportunities for enlightenment. Dear audience, I believe that each of us, sitting here and listening, is on a path to seek true peace and happiness. Let us practice what the Buddha taught so that every day becomes more meaningful. Prepare a quiet space, relax your mind, and listen to today's program with your heart. I trust that by the end of this episode, you will have valuable tools to master your emotions, words, and life. Are you ready? Let us dive into the main content now. Dear viewers, we often hear that emotions are an unavoidable part of life. But have we ever stopped to ask ourselves, what are emotions really? Why do they have such a profound influence on the way we think, act, and respond to the world around us? According to Buddhist teachings, emotions are reflections of the mind state when confronted with external influences. They are natural expressions of consciousness, arising from the interaction between our senses and the objects they perceive. The Buddha once taught, the mind precedes all phenomena. The mind is their chief, the mind creates everything. This profound teaching highlights that emotions, whether positive or negative, originate from the mind itself. Buddhism emphasizes that emotions neither arise nor vanish independently, but are products of interdependent causes and conditions. An emotion manifests when factors such as circumstances, thoughts, and individual perceptions intersect. For example, anger does not arise on its own but appears when a provoking stimulus, cause, meets an unsettled mind, condition. This understanding is rooted in the Buddhist concept of dependent origination, which explains that all phenomena arise due to specific causes and conditions. Recognizing that emotions are merely phenomena born of conditions allows us to see that they are not fixed or permanent, and thus, we can transform them. In Buddhist teachings, emotions are categorized into two main groups. Positive emotions, wholesome states. These include compassion, loving-kindness, and joy. These emotions illuminate the mind and bring peace to oneself and others. They are manifestations of a purified mind that lives in harmony with the true nature of the self and the world. Negative emotions, defilements. These include anger, jealousy, greed, and fear. They are called defilements because they disturb the mind, leading to suffering and the creation of unwholesome karma. The Buddha taught, defilements are the cause of suffering, but they also hold the potential for enlightenment. This profound teaching reveals that even negative emotions, if recognized and transformed correctly, can serve as motivations for spiritual practice and awakening. According to Buddhist teachings, all negative emotions originate from ignorance, which is the inability to perceive the true nature of life. When we fail to understand that everything is impermanent, interconnected, and without a fixed self, we cling to illusions and experience suffering. Examples include anger. This arises when the ego feels threatened or harmed. It often stems from attachment to the self. Jealousy. This emerges from comparing oneself to others and feeling inadequate, forgetting that happiness is not limited to certain possessions or achievements. Fear. This grows from clinging to the illusion of security and permanence in a world that is constantly changing. Craving. This is the attachment to desires. When unfulfilled, it leads to feelings of disappointment and pain. The Buddha emphasized that craving is one of the primary causes of negative emotions and the cycle of samsara, birth and death. Positive emotions, on the other hand, are born from a purified mind. They are the result of living in harmony with the true nature of oneself and the world. In Buddhism, positive emotions not only bring joy to oneself but also spread happiness to others. Compassion is the ability to understand and share in the suffering of others. The Buddha taught that when compassion arises, all negative emotions dissipate. Compassion is not just an emotional state but a means to achieve inner peace. For instance, when faced with insult or harm, instead of reacting with anger, we practice compassion, recognizing that the one who caused us pain is also suffering. When witnessing someone else's success, instead of feeling envy, we rejoice in their happiness with a heart full of joy. Joy in Buddhism is happiness that is independent of external circumstances. It is the state of a clear and tranquil mind. The Buddha taught that joy is the reward for those who live mindfully and let go of attachments. To deeply understand emotions, we must practice mindfulness, contemplation, and objective recognition of our feelings. The Buddha taught, the wise person observes their mind like a gatekeeper, ensuring emotions do not lead them astray but maintaining awareness. When emotions arise, whether anger, sadness, or anxiety, we can ask ourselves, where does this emotion come from? Does it truly reflect reality, or is it a product of an unsettled mind? How can I transform this emotion without harming myself or others? Mindfulness, or sati, is the foundation for recognizing and mastering emotions. When we practice mindfulness, we do not get swept away by emotions but instead maintain equanimity and clarity. For example, breathing exercise. When anger arises, breathe in and acknowledge the emotion. Breathe out and smile at it. This simple practice allows the emotion to dissipate naturally, like mist under the morning sun. The Buddha taught, all emotions are impermanent, they arise and pass away like waves on the ocean. When we understand that emotions are neither permanent nor inherently real, we become less attached to them. Dear viewers, emotions, whether positive or negative, are an inseparable part of being human. However, what matters most is how we perceive and respond to them. By understanding the nature of emotions through the light of Buddhist teachings, we not only master our minds but also build a life of peace and happiness. Practice recognizing each emotion, cultivating compassion and wisdom, and let each day become a valuable lesson on the path to enlightenment. When we talk about negative emotions, we often think of states such as anger, jealousy, anxiety, or disappointment. But are these emotions truly as negative as we believe? The Buddha taught, defilements are bodhi. This profound statement means that negative emotions are not our enemies but opportunities for us to understand our minds and transform them. In Buddhism, negative emotions are referred to as defilements, mental states that disturb peace and obscure clarity. These emotions are not inherent qualities of a person, but rather the results of unwholesome causes and conditions. Examples include, anger arises when the mind is provoked by someone's words or actions. Jealousy emerges when we compare ourselves to others and feel inadequate. Anxiety develops when we fear uncertainties and anticipate unfavorable outcomes. The Buddha taught, negative emotions are like smoldering fires. If left uncontrolled, they will burn down the entire forest of merit. To fully understand negative emotions, we must trace them back to their origins. Buddhist teachings reveal that negative emotions do not arise spontaneously, they are the results of interdependent causes and conditions. Ignorance, or the lack of understanding about the true nature of life, is the primary root of negative emotions. Ignorance about the impermanence of all things leads to attachment and suffering. For example, when a relationship ends, we feel pain because we mistakenly believe love is eternal. When we lose material possessions, we experience loss because we cling to the belief that wealth belongs to us forever. The Buddha taught, dependent origination is the root of all things. When conditions dissolve, things cease to exist. Understanding this, the mind will no longer suffer. One of the reasons negative emotions dominate is the monkey mind, a restless state that constantly jumps from one thought to another, driven by external stimuli. This agitation prevents us from recognizing the true nature of emotions. For example, when criticized, instead of observing the comment as it is, we let the mind react impulsively, leading to anger or sadness. The Buddha compared the mind to water. When stirred, the water becomes murky, obscuring its depths. But when it settles, it becomes clear and tranquil. This metaphor reminds us that only a calm mind can perceive the true nature of emotions. Craving is the attachment to desires, and when these desires are unfulfilled, dissatisfaction arises. Buddhism identifies craving as one of the three poisons that lead to suffering and the cycle of rebirth. For instance, when we crave recognition from others but do not receive it, feelings of disappointment and hurt arise. When we desire a perfect life but face challenges, we feel helpless and disheartened. The Buddha taught, craving binds sentient beings to the cycle of samsara. Only by letting go can the mind be liberated. If left unrecognized and uncontrolled, negative emotions can have serious consequences, not only for ourselves but also for those around us. Negative emotions deplete mental energy, leaving the mind in a constant state of tension. Buddhism refers to this state as mental illness, where defilements cloud the mind and hinder clear perception. Modern science also supports this understanding, showing that emotions such as anxiety and anger can disrupt sleep, increase blood pressure, and weaken the immune system. The Buddha taught, when the mind is restless, the body is also unstable. When the mind is tranquil, the body is healthy. When negative emotions take control, they often lead us to speak or act in ways that harm others. For example, a thoughtless comment made in anger can fracture a relationship we've spent years building. The Buddha taught, words are arrows, once released, they cannot be taken back. Speak words that bring peace, not suffering. Every action and word driven by negative emotions leaves a karmic imprint on our consciousness. Acting out of anger, for instance, not only harms others but also creates unwholesome karma for ourselves. The Buddha warned, the fire of anger does not only burn others but first consumes the one who holds it. To understand and transform negative emotions, we must observe them with mindfulness and compassion. The Buddha taught, master your mind as a boatman steers their boat through turbulent waters. When negative emotions arise, rather than trying to eliminate or suppress them, observe them as you would observe a passing cloud. Ask yourself, where does this emotion come from? Does it truly reflect reality, or is it a product of an unsettled mind? Recognize emotions without allowing them to dictate your actions. The breath is a powerful tool for returning to the present moment, calming the mind, and finding peace. For example, when anger arises, take a deep breath in and exhale gently. When anxiety emerges, focus on your breath to prevent the mind from spiraling into negativity. The Buddha taught, the breath is the bridge between the body and mind. Use it to return to yourself. When faced with negative emotions, practice compassion toward yourself and others. Remember that negative emotions are temporary phenomena and do not define you. Extend wishes of peace to those who may have caused you harm, recognizing that they, too, are suffering. The Buddha taught, compassion is the guiding light that leads through the darkness of anger and jealousy. Dear viewers, negative emotions are not to be feared but seen as opportunities for deep self-reflection and the cultivation of mindfulness. When we understand their causes and consequences, we learn to control and transform them, leading to a more peaceful and harmonious life. Remember that emotions, no matter how intense, are like passing clouds. What truly matters is ensuring they do not obscure the light of wisdom and compassion within your heart. The Buddha once taught, the mind is like water. When the water is stirred, it cannot reflect the truth clearly. This statement suggests that when emotions are left unchecked, our minds become agitated and unable to perceive issues with clarity. When negative emotions such as anger, anxiety, or fear dominate, the mind loses its balance. In this state, we are prone to impulsive decisions that may harm both ourselves and others. For example, anger can lead to hurtful words that fracture relationships. Anxiety can breed doubt, breaking trust with those around us. The Buddha taught, an unsettled mind is like a torch burning in the wind. It cannot illuminate the path ahead. A mind disturbed by negative emotions cannot concentrate on any task. leading to stagnation in life and reduced productivity. The Buddha pointed out, the body and mind are inseparable. When the mind is unstable, the body cannot be healthy. This teaching emphasizes that negative emotions not only harm the mind but also directly affect the body. Modern scientific studies corroborate this, demonstrating that prolonged stress caused by negative emotions can weaken the immune system, making the body more susceptible to illnesses such as colds and infections. In Buddhism, this state is called mental illness, when defilements cloud the mind, preventing clear perception. Negative emotions like fear or regret disrupt sleep, making it shallow and easily interrupted. Poor quality sleep exacerbates stress, creating a vicious cycle that is hard to escape. The Buddha taught, those with a pure mind sleep peacefully and wake with joy. Those who harbor defilements carry restless dreams. Uncontrolled emotions not only affect us individually but also harm those around us. The Buddha said, unmindful words spoken in anger are like arrows. Once released, they cannot be taken back. When negative emotions flare up, we are likely to say hurtful things or act thoughtlessly, breaking trust in relationships. Excessive criticism spoken in anger can erode a child's confidence in their parents. A heated argument between friends can create a rift that is difficult to mend. The Buddha taught, the wise consider their words carefully, knowing that words are either the threads that connect or the blades that sever relationships. In Buddhist teachings, every action, word, or thought leaves a karmic imprint on our consciousness. When we act from negative emotions, we harm not only the present but also create negative karma that affects our future. Types of karma: verbal karma. Words spoken in anger cause harm and generate unwholesome karma. Physical karma. Violent actions arising from anger leave behind imprints known as body karma. Mental karma. Even unspoken negative thoughts create mind karma. A mind frequently consumed by anger or envy builds an inner world filled with suffering. The Buddha taught, the fire of anger not only burns others but first consumes the one who holds it. Negative emotions are not confined to individuals, they ripple outward, affecting families, workplaces, and communities. Buddhism emphasizes that anger and unrest generate negative energy, disrupting harmony in shared spaces. A person who frequently exhibits anger creates tension within their family. A leader unable to control their emotions loses the trust of their team, destabilizing the organization. The Buddha taught, a person with a compassionate heart spreads light, while one who clings to defilements casts darkness. Understanding the consequences of uncontrolled emotions is the first step toward transformation. The Buddha taught, those who see the root of their suffering will find the path to liberation. When negative emotions arise, ask yourself, what are the consequences if I do not control this emotion? How can I transform this emotion into a positive lesson? When a negative emotion surfaces, stop and focus on your breath. This simple act calms the mind and prevents impulsive reactions. Mindful observation. Observe the emotion as if it were a cloud passing in the sky. Acknowledge its presence but do not let it dictate your actions. Practice compassion. Show compassion toward yourself and others. Recognize that negative emotions are temporary and do not define you. The Buddha taught, mindfulness is the path to peace and liberation from all defilements. Dear viewers, emotions are an integral part of life, but when left unchecked, they can become fires that burn both the inner and outer worlds. By understanding the consequences of negative emotions, we not only learn to remain calm but also create a harmonious and peaceful life. Remember, every emotion carries a lesson. What matters most is whether we recognize and transform it. The Buddha once said, those who master their minds are the true masters of the world. Let us strive to practice mindfulness and compassion, transforming negative emotions into opportunities for growth and enlightenment. Dear whether positive or negative, are natural manifestations of the mind. They do not arise independently but are the result of interdependent causes and conditions. According to the teachings of the Buddha, we do not need to eliminate emotions, rather, we must learn to transform them into positive energy. This transformation not only brings peace to ourselves but also helps build harmonious relationships and a tranquil life. The first step in controlling emotions is the practice of mindfulness. The Buddha once taught, "Be as vigilant as a gatekeeper, letting no emotion pass without recognition." Mindfulness is the awareness of each thought, word, and action. When negative emotions arise, instead of judging or attempting to suppress them, observe them as a bystander watching a river flow. This detachment allows us to avoid being swept away by emotions while maintaining clarity. Begin by focusing on your breath, which acts as a bridge between the body and mind. When anger arises, pause, inhale deeply, and exhale gently. Each breath is an opportunity to calm the mind and restore balance. Remind yourself, "I feel anger, but I am not angry. It is only a part of my mind." Recognizing emotions without identifying with them is the first step to mastering the mind. Another method for managing emotions is contemplating impermanence. The Buddha taught, "Everything in life is impermanent. Nothing lasts forever." Emotions, no matter how intense, are temporary phenomena. When we understand that anger, anxiety, or disappointment will eventually fade like clouds drifting across the sky, we free ourselves from their control. Deep reflection on emotions. Ask yourself, will this emotion last forever? What is the root of this sadness? Does it persist because I am feeding it with negative thoughts? The answer is always no, as all emotions arise and dissolve according to natural laws. For example, sadness often emerges from attachment. If we stop nurturing it with self-defeating thoughts, it loses its power to harm us. Compassion is a crucial method taught by the Buddha to soothe negative emotions. Compassion is not only about extending love and understanding to others, but also about showing kindness to oneself. When faced with negative emotions, instead of blaming or forcing yourself to eliminate them immediately, practice compassion. Remind yourself, "I feel sadness, but I am not this sadness. I need time to understand and transform it." Treating yourself gently is the best way to calm the mind and maintain serenity. When negative emotions stem from conflicts with others, recognize that the person who hurt you is also suffering. The Buddha taught, "Those who hurt others carry wounds in their hearts." Instead of retaliating with anger, send them a wish for peace. Compassion not only eases your emotions but also spreads positive energy to those around you. Patience is another effective method for managing emotions. The Buddha described patience as inner strength that keeps the mind calm in any circumstance. It is not passive endurance but the ability to remain composed and thoughtful. In words, when negative emotions arise, take a moment before speaking. A harsh comment made in anger can destroy a relationship, but a carefully considered response can repair and strengthen bonds. In actions, patience allows us to make wise decisions rather than acting impulsively based on emotions. The Buddha likened patience to the earth. No matter what is thrown upon it, the earth does not react. Similarly, practicing patience helps us maintain equanimity. The combination of wisdom and compassion is the key to mastering emotions. Wisdom allows us to see the true nature of emotions. They are temporary, without inherent substance. Compassion enables us to treat ourselves and others with kindness, ensuring that negative emotions do not become sources of suffering. Recognize that emotions are fleeting. When they arise, remind yourself, "This too shall pass." Understanding the impermanent nature of emotions helps reduce attachment and fear. Use compassion compassion to gently transform negative feelings into lessons for growth. The Buddha taught, those who master their minds are free from suffering. With each emotion you control, you move closer to peace and enlightenment. Dear viewers, mastering emotions is not an easy task, but it is far from impossible. The Buddha once taught, those who master their minds are masters of the world. Start with small steps, recognizing emotions, reflecting on impermanence, and nurturing compassion and wisdom. Each day is an opportunity to train the mind and progress toward awakening. Remember, emotions are not enemies but teachers, helping us better understand ourselves. By mastering emotions, we not only find peace within but also spread positive energy to those around us. Let us practice mindfulness, patience, and compassion, transforming every emotion into an opportunity for inner growth and harmony. Dear viewers, controlling emotions is a journey, not a destination. In every moment of life, we face emotional challenges, times when the mind is easily swept into anger, sadness, or anxiety. Yet, it is within these challenges that the opportunity to practice mindfulness, compassion, and patience becomes most apparent. The Buddha once taught, the mind is the master, the mind creates, the mind leads all actions. This teaching reminds us that how we respond to emotions not only shapes our present reality, but also determines the karmic consequences for the future. When we learn to recognize our emotions and act with wisdom, we not only reduce suffering for ourselves but also spread peace to those around us. On this journey, the first step is always to recognize emotions with mindfulness. When anger arises, remember that anger is just a small part of your mind, not the entirety of who you are. When anxiety comes, return to your breath to see that anxiety cannot control a clear and present mind. When disappointment surfaces, reflect on impermanence to understand that all things arise and pass away. These practices are not about denying emotions, but about acknowledging and transforming them with gentleness. However, controlling emotions is not just a personal matter. It is also a way of contributing to the harmony of our families, communities, and society. A clear mind produces gentle words, virtuous actions, and strong relationships. An unsettled mind, on the other hand, can easily cause unnecessary conflicts and strain valuable connections. The Buddha emphasized, the one who masters their mind finds true happiness. While we may not be able to change everything external to us, we can always change how we perceive and respond. Each time we manage an emotion well, we lighten the burden on our minds and strengthen our inner resilience and wisdom. Controlling emotions is an act of compassion toward oneself. By not letting negative emotions dominate, we protect our hearts from unnecessary wounds. Compassion is not only for others but also for ourselves, allowing us to treat ourselves with kindness and patience. Practicing emotional control does not happen overnight. It requires patience, willpower, and determination. Each day, set aside a few minutes to practice mindfulness, observe your breath, and recognize your emotions. Reflect on impermanence, reminding yourself that all emotions are temporary. Cultivate compassion, not only for yourself but also for those around you. There will be difficult times when emotions seem too strong to control. But remember, every failure is also an opportunity to learn. The Buddha taught, no path to success is without stumbling. What matters is that we do not give up and continue striving on the path to mastering our minds. Dear viewers, emotions are companions in life but not our teachers. When we master our emotions, life becomes lighter, more peaceful. Controlling emotions is not about achieving perfection, but about living a fulfilled and harmonious life with ourselves and those around us. Begin with the smallest actions, listen to your breath, recognize your emotions, and practice compassion. Every small step brings us closer to true peace. And when the mind is at peace, all circumstances become peaceful. The Buddha taught, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. Let the path of controlling emotions be a journey of peace and wisdom, not only for you but also for all those you love. Dear viewers, communication is not merely a tool for exchanging information, but a bridge connecting hearts to hearts. In daily life, every word, gesture, and even silence carries profound messages. However, if left uncontrolled, communication can become a source of conflict, misunderstanding, and suffering. According to Buddhist teachings, communication is not just an act but a reflection of our compassion, sincerity, and wisdom in relationships. In the Buddhist teachings, communication is inseparable from the state of our mind. Words, actions, and even thoughts mirror the condition of our consciousness. The Buddha once taught, words are like seeds. If sown with sincerity and compassion, they will bloom into peace and happiness. But if sown with anger, they will bring suffering and discord. Communication is not just about spoken words, it is how we show up in life. A gentle gaze, a kind smile, or a nod of agreement are all forms of communication. These are the means by which we connect with others, fostering understanding and empathy. According to Buddhism, every act of communication leaves an imprint on our consciousness, known as karma. When we communicate with compassion and wisdom, we create wholesome karma, contributing to peace in our lives. Conversely, if we communicate with anger or deceit, we plant unwholesome seeds that lead to suffering for ourselves and others. The Buddha emphasized, words hold the power to create heaven or hell. Words are not just sounds but carriers of meaning and energy from the soul. When spoken with sincerity and goodwill, words bring joy and tranquility. However, when born of anger, jealousy, or deceit, they harm not only the listener but also the speaker. We bear responsibility for every word we utter. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this true? Is this beneficial? Does this come from a place of compassion? In the Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddha introduced the concept of right speech, words that are truthful, beneficial, and harmless. Practicing right speech not only helps us build strong relationships but also purifies our minds. The Buddha advised avoiding lying. Falsehood destroys trust and damages relationships. Harsh speech, words that hurt or insult, disturb the peace of others. Gossip, exaggerations or distortions for personal gain lead to misunderstanding. Idle talk, words without value waste time and energy for both parties. Right speech is not only about refraining from harmful words but also about using words to plant seeds of goodness. A word of encouragement or a heartfelt comfort can heal the deepest wounds. Communication is more than words, it is how we express compassion and care for others. The Buddha taught, those who speak with compassion ease all conflicts and bring joy to others. Compassionate communication manifests in several ways: deep listening, listening not just with our ears but with our hearts so the speaker feels understood. Comforting words, gentle words can heal emotional wounds, like soft rain cooling parched earth. Actions beyond words, sometimes, an act of kindness, helping someone in need, speaks louder than 1,000 words. Compassionate communication not only soothes the pain of others but also nurtures our own hearts. When we practice compassion through words and actions, we create beauty in the listener's mind and contribute to a more peaceful world. The highest purpose of communication is not to persuade or prove oneself right but to foster understanding and connection. The Buddha taught, one who listens with understanding creates no conflict. Communication is a tool for understanding others and, at the same time, looking inward. Understanding others' emotions, communication is not just the exchange of information but also the sharing of feelings. Put yourself in the other's shoes to empathize with their experience. Understanding circumstances. Before reacting, seek to understand the other person's situation. They may be enduring pressures or hardships we are unaware of. Dear viewers, communication is not just a skill but an art, the art of connecting, sharing, and spreading love. When we communicate with sincerity, compassion, and wisdom, we not only enrich relationships but also nurture peace in our own souls. The Buddha once said, "Words spoken at the right time, in the right way, are the most precious jewels." Let each of our words be like wholesome seeds, sowing peace and happiness in the hearts of those who hear them. And always remember, communication is not just about what we say, but how we show up for others, allowing them to feel seen, understood, and loved from the depths of our being. Dear viewers, in life, communication is the medium through which we express thoughts, share emotions, and connect with others. However, not all communication brings joy and harmony. At times, words can hurt or break valuable relationships. Conversely, positive communication, when carried out with sincerity and compassion, becomes a bridge that fosters happiness and deep connection among people. The Buddha once said, "A word spoken at the right time, in the right way, brings peace to both the speaker and the listener." Positive communication, through the lens of Buddhism, is not merely about saying kind words. It also encompasses how we listen, understand, and respond with compassion and wisdom. This form of communication helps reduce conflict, brings tranquility, and nurtures relationships. Communication is the thread that connects every relationship. A gentle word or a thoughtful gesture can ease tensions, heal wounds, and deepen bonds between people. Conversely, a lack of positivity in communication can easily lead to misunderstandings, conflict, and distance. Positive communication is the foundation of trust, an essential element of any relationship. When we communicate with sincerity, others feel heard and respected. Trust is not innate but cultivated through every word and action. Words must come from sincerity, free from deceit or distortion. The Buddha taught, truth is the foundation of all speech. When we communicate truthfully, the listener feels trust and safety. Every word should be wrapped in compassion. Words are not just for expression, but also for soothing pain and bringing joy. Positive communication does not deny life's difficulties but addresses them gently, focusing on solutions rather than blame. Imagine a challenging situation. When someone says, "We will get through this together," these words not only provide hope but also empower the person to face adversity. This is the transformative power of positive communication. Positive communication extends beyond personal relationships to foster harmony within communities. Whether in a small team or a large organization, if all members practice positive communication, it creates an inspiring and effective environment for work and learning. The Buddha taught, "One who speaks words of harmony eases all conflicts and brings the light of peace." In every situation, strive to communicate in a way that promotes unity rather than division. Life inevitably presents moments of disagreement or conflict. However, how we communicate during these moments determines the outcome. Positive communication does not avoid problems. Rather, it approaches them with calmness and goodwill. Positive communication begins with accepting that everyone has their own perspectives and experiences. No one is entirely right or wrong. When we communicate with respect for differences, resolving conflicts becomes easier without harming relationships. In a debate, instead of saying, "You're wrong," try saying, "I understand your point, but I see it differently." This approach not only maintains respect but also opens space for meaningful discussion. The Buddha taught, gentle words are a cool stream in a parched desert. When faced with someone else's anger, a soft and calm response can dissolve tension and bring peace. When we speak words of kindness and compassion, our own hearts become lighter and more peaceful. The Buddha once said, "One who uses words wisely will never regret what they have said." Kind words are like seeds of goodness planted in the soul. When we practice positive communication, we not only bring joy to others but also cultivate tranquility and happiness within ourselves. Kind words have a powerful ripple effect. A timely word of encouragement can uplift someone's spirits and inspire others in turn. This is the profound value that positive communication offers. Dear viewers, positive communication is not difficult, yet it brings immense value. Every word and action, no matter how small, when carried out with compassion and wisdom, can become a source of inspiration, bringing peace to ourselves and those around us. Let words be bridges that spread love to everyone. The Buddha once said, "Words hold the power of fire. Use them to warm hearts, not to burn relationships." Every moment of communication is an opportunity to make life more beautiful. So, speak positively, listen with understanding, and communicate with your whole heart. Communication serves as a bridge connecting people, but when this bridge is not built with sincerity and compassion, it can easily become a wall of division. Negative words, thoughtless actions, or even indifferent silence can deeply wound others. The Buddha taught, "Those who speak harshly harm themselves before harming others." This underscores the importance of understanding the nature of negative communication and its consequences, not only to avoid it but also to pave the way for transformation. Negative communication does not always manifest as overtly harmful words or malicious actions. Sometimes, it lies hidden in careless remarks or attitudes of indifference and neglect. These expressions disrupt relationships and leave emotional scars that are difficult to heal. In daily life, we often witness the painful outcomes of negative communication, broken relationships, prolonged misunderstandings, or even conflicts within families and society. In Buddhist teachings, negative communication is viewed as a manifestation of unwholesome mental states. It arises from ignorance, anger, or selfishness. Lies, criticism, and divisive speech do not only harm the listener but also disturb the speaker's mind. The Buddha warned, unwholesome words are like a double-edged sword, wounding both the listener and the speaker. A clear example of negative communication is speaking harshly in anger. In such moments, words no longer reflect truth but serve as tools to vent frustration. Similarly, spreading unverified rumors, whether intentionally or unintentionally, can erode trust and damage reputations. Negative communication extends beyond spoken words to include actions and attitudes. Indifference, cold silence, or contemptuous glances are also forms of negative communication that leave others feeling abandoned and hurt. To deeply understand negative communication, we must examine its roots. Buddhist teachings explain that all unwholesome actions stem from unstable mental states and a lack of wisdom. When we fail to recognize the karmic power of our words, it becomes easy to utter thoughtless remarks. Such words not only harm others but also disrupt our inner peace. Ignorance makes us underestimate the influence of speech, leading to regret for what has been said. Anger is a primary cause of harsh words. When anger takes over, emotions become uncontrollable, and words turn into tools of retaliation. The Buddha taught, the fire of anger does not only burn others but first consumes the one who holds it. Self-centeredness also plays a significant role in negative communication. When focused solely on personal gain, we may manipulate, deceive, or hurt others to achieve our aims. Such behavior is not only a form of negative communication but also a root cause of many societal conflicts. Negative communication leaves not only immediate but also long-lasting consequences, affecting relationships, mental well-being, and the quality of life. Thoughtless words can destroy even the strongest relationships. Heavy criticism or dishonesty erodes trust, the foundation of any connection. A family can fracture due to blame and criticism instead of understanding and sharing. Friendships can end over careless remarks made in anger. Negative words often lead to community conflicts. A malicious rumor or divisive speech can disrupt unity and even spark unnecessary disputes. The Buddha reminded us, divisive speech is the seed of suffering. In Buddhist teachings, every word spoken creates karma. When we use words to harm or act unwholesomely, the consequences will eventually return to us. The Buddha taught, those who speak unwholesome words reap suffering, while those who speak with compassion receive peace. Negative communication is not irreversible. By recognizing its nature and consequences, we can adopt methods to transform it. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this necessary? Will this bring benefit or harm? Mindfulness in communication helps us recognize emotions and take control of our words, avoiding impulsive remarks made in anger. Compassion should be practiced not only toward others but also toward ourselves. When we speak with compassion, we soothe negative emotions and spread peace to those around us. Negative communication does not only harm others but also disrupts our inner peace. By understanding the consequences of unwholesome words, we learn to be more mindful in our speech and actions. The Buddha taught, the wise speak words as sweet as honey, soothing the mind of the listener and nurturing peace within themselves. Let every word we speak be like a gentle breeze that eases tension, rather than a fire that ignites conflict. Communication is not merely a tool, but an art that nurtures peace and happiness in life. Dear viewers, in every relationship, communication plays a crucial role as the bridge that helps us understand and bond with one another. However, for communication to truly bring meaning and nurture peace, it must be carried out based on the foundations of compassion and wisdom. The Buddha once taught, words are like seeds, they will sprout into peace or suffering depending on how we plant them. The methods of communication according to Buddhism not only help us build harmony but also transform negative energy, enhancing our relationships with ourselves and those around us. When we think about speech, we often focus only on the content. Yet, Buddhist teachings remind us that the intention behind the words and the way we express them are just as important. Communication is not merely about speaking and listening, it is also about how we convey respect, love, and deep understanding. Let us explore the methods that help us practice proper communication in life, ensuring that every word and action becomes a guiding light, spreading peace and happiness. The first method that the Buddha emphasized is right speech. Right speech is not merely speaking the truth but also using words as a means to bring benefit and ease suffering. A truthful, gentle, and timely word can dissolve tension and heal deep wounds in the soul of the listener. The Buddha once said, gentle words are like a cool stream in a scorching desert. To practice right speech, we should always remember, do not lie. Truth is always the foundation of trust. When we speak truthfully, not only do others feel secure, but our own hearts also become calmer. Avoid divisive speech. Harmonious words are threads that connect hearts, while divisive speech is a blade that severs relationships. Do not exaggerate or speak maliciously. Overstated or harsh words only cause misunderstanding and pain. Always remember, words may seem small, but they hold immense power. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this true? Is it necessary? Will it bring benefit? When we practice right speech, we not only avoid mistakes in our words but also create a peaceful atmosphere in every conversation. Alongside right speech, listening is an indispensable part of communication. The Buddha taught, listening is the highest act of compassion. Listening is not just for understanding, it is also how we show respect and care for others. When someone needs to share, be fully present, so they feel that they are not alone. Mindful listening means placing our full attention on the other person's story, without interrupting, judging, or rushing to provide solutions. Instead of trying to fix their problems, sometimes simply listening with empathy is enough to ease their pain. Allow their words to settle in your mind, much like how a potter waits for the clay to dry before molding it further. The next method is reflecting before speaking. A sentence may take only seconds to utter, but its consequences can last a lifetime. The Buddha advised, before speaking, consider the impact of your words. Kind words are like flowers that spread fragrance, while malicious words are like thorns that pierce the heart. Before speaking, ask yourself 3 questions. Is this truthful? Is it necessary in this situation? Will it bring benefit or ease tension? Reflection is not meant to slow down conversations, but to ensure that every word carries genuine value. When we speak with mindfulness, words become not just tools of communication, but also expressions of compassion and wisdom. However, words are not always the best solution. The Buddha highlighted, silence at the right moment is a form of wisdom. Silence does not mean avoidance, but is a way to preserve peace in sensitive situations. When emotions run high or when words might cause more harm, silence provides an opportunity to turn inward, observe, and calm the mind. Practice positive silence by focusing on your breath or sending compassionate energy to the other person. Timely silence not only avoids hurtful words but also opens space for understanding and reconciliation. Finally, for communication to become an art aligned with Buddhist principles, we must cultivate harmonious communication. Harmonious communication occurs when every word and action is directed toward easing tension, strengthening connections, and bringing happiness to all involved. The Buddha taught, those who speak words of harmony sow seeds of peace in the community. Practice harmonious communication by connecting with others through compassion. Always place yourself in the other person's position to understand their feelings and needs. Being patient in listening and expressing thoughts, patience not only resolves problems more effectively but also fosters mutual trust and respect. Aligning words with actions. When words and actions are consistent, we not only build trust but also establish enduring harmony. Dear viewers, communication is an art that helps us understand and love one another. But it can also become a source of conflict if not practiced properly. The Buddha once said, kind words are like guiding lights, malicious words are like darkness that obscures the truth. Every moment of communication is an opportunity to spread love, build harmony, and nurture peace in our hearts. Remember, communication is not only about what we say, but also about how we listen, understand, and show up for others. When we practice proper communication in the spirit of Buddhism, every word becomes a light, every act of listening a manifestation of compassion, and every moment of silence an opportunity for transformation. Dear friends, in life, we often think that communication revolves solely around speaking and listening, but few realize that silence is also an essential and profound part of communication. The Buddha once taught, silence is not the absence of communication, it is the most refined form of communication for the wise. When practiced correctly, silence not only helps us control our words but also creates space for understanding, reconciliation, and nurturing peace within our minds. Silence is not about avoidance or refusing to communicate. On the contrary, it is a deliberate act, helping to ease tension and open pathways to mutual understanding. According to the Buddha's teachings, silence is not merely the cessation of speech, but a state of mindfulness when the mind is not swayed by turbulent emotions. The Buddha said, one who knows how to be silent at the right time is one who masters their own mind. When does silence reflect wisdom? During anger, when emotions surge, words can easily lasting harm. Silence allows us to pause, preventing anger from taking over, and create space for emotions to settle. When facts are unclear, in situations where information is unverified, silence helps avoid rash statements, misunderstandings, or causing harm to others. When words have no value, idle or unnecessary words not only waste time but also disrupt harmony. Silence preserves serenity and helps focus on what is truly important. Imagine a heated argument. When one side chooses silence instead of reacting immediately, tensions ease, and opportunities arise for both sides to reflect on the situation. This is the power of silence. It does not create distance but instead opens up space for deeper understanding. In communication, not only speaking but also listening plays a crucial role. However, to listen deeply, we must first learn to be silent. The Buddha once said, "Listening with the silence of the heart can ease all pain." Silence is not merely the absence of speech, it is a way to create conditions for truly understanding others. When we are silent and listen, the speaker feels respected and understood. Silence creates a space for their story to unfold, helping them release inner burdens. For example, when someone shares their sorrow, rather than rushing to offer advice or respond, simply being silent, listening, and accompanying them can convey the message, "I am here for you." Silence is not about waiting for one's turn to speak, but about fully focusing on the other's story. Let go of all preconceptions and judgments to understand the meaning behind their words and emotions. Resolving conflicts through silence. In moments of conflict, emotions often dominate, turning words into weapons. Yet timely silence can calm tensions and prevent conflicts from escalating. The Buddha said, "One who remains silent in anger is like a calm river, undisturbed by winds and waves." How silence helps resolve conflicts. Pause to reflect. Silence provides time to consider issues calmly when emotions are running high. Create space for others. Silence is not only an act of restraint, but also an opportunity for others to calm their emotions and reconsider their perspectives. Consider a heated dispute where both parties try to impose their viewpoints. The conflict will never end. But if one party chooses silence, tension subsides, creating opportunities to redirect the dialogue towards reconciliation. Silence and interconnection. Silence is not only for interactions with others, but also a means of reconnecting with oneself. In a busy life filled with external noise, we often forget to listen to the voice within our hearts. The Buddha taught, silence is the foundation of mindfulness. From silence, wisdom arises. In moments of silence, we become aware of the emotions and thoughts within us. This self-awareness helps us understand ourselves better and adjust our words and actions appropriately. Silence is not merely a pause, but an opportunity to practice mindful breathing, soothing the mind, and cultivating peace. Silent moments in meditation allow us to regain balance between our inner self and the outer world. Dear friends, silence is not the absence of communication, but a deeply meaningful form of expression. The Buddha taught, timely silence is an act of compassion and wisdom. Silence not only helps us calm turbulent emotions, but also creates space for understanding and reconciliation. Let silence be a companion in every conversation. When we know how to be silent at the right time, we not only protect the peace within our own minds, but also bring a sense of safety and love to others. Each moment of silence is an opportunity to return to ourselves, to recognize emotions, thoughts, and actions with clarity. In communication, words hold power, but silence carries depth. Let our silence be a guiding light, a gentle but meaningful message that brings peace to ourselves and those around us. Dear friends, communication is an indispensable part of life, serving as a bridge that helps us understand each other and build lasting relationships. However, communication only becomes truly meaningful when it is carried out with sincerity, compassion, and wisdom. The Buddha once taught, "Those who speak words of harmony plant seeds of peace in everyone's hearts." Harmonious communication is not far-fetched, it is a way to express love and respect for others in every word and action. This not only alleviates tensions but also brings tranquility to both the speaker and the listener. Imagine a family where everyone listens with their whole hearts and speaks with kind words. Such an environment would always be warm, full of empathy and connection. This is the power of harmonious communication, where words are not merely tools for conveying information but also expressions of compassion. The Buddha emphasized that harmonious communication is not just about words, it is about presence, listening, understanding, and responding with sincerity. In relationships, harmonious communication acts as a bridge, helping people connect more deeply, overcome differences, and resolve conflicts amicably. A kind word, a compassionate look, or even timely silence can ease tensions and foster understanding. Practices for harmonious communication: speak truthfully. Honest words not only build trust but also form the foundation for lasting relationships. When truth is spoken with compassion, it becomes a guiding light that reassures and respects others. Listen attentively. Listening is not just about hearing but understanding and empathizing. When we listen with full attention, others feel understood and valued. The Buddha said, "Listening with the silence of the heart is the deepest form of communication." Choose the right timing and manner. A word spoken at the right time and place can ease tension, resolve conflicts, and bring peace. Harmonious communication not only nurtures relationships with others but also fosters inner peace. When we speak words of compassion, our hearts are not disturbed by negative emotions but instead filled with serenity and happiness. The Buddha taught, "Those who speak kind words will reap joy, those who speak harshly will reap suffering." Therefore, let us always be mindful of our words so that each one carries positive value for both the speaker and the listener. Dear friends, communication is not just a tool for exchanging information but also a bridge that helps us build, maintain, and develop relationships in life. From words and actions to silence, every form of communication holds the power to create understanding or misunderstandings. The Buddha once taught, "Right words can soothe pain and bring light and peace to every soul." When we recognize the value of communication, every word and gesture becomes an expression of compassion and wisdom. Let us reflect on the journey we've undertaken to understand the value of communication. From recognizing its essence through the lens of the Buddha's teachings to applying positive communication to foster harmony and connection, we've explored the impacts of negative communication and learned to use silence as a powerful tool. Above all, we've discussed how to build harmonious communication where words, actions, and listening all aim to bring joy and peace to everyone around us. Communication, when practiced with mindfulness and compassion, becomes a means of expressing love and wisdom in our lives. Every genuine word, small meaningful act, or even a moment of wholehearted listening can transform lives. Therefore, communication is not just a skill, but an art of living, one where we learn to love, understand, and deeply connect with others. May each act of communication bring beauty to life, foster connections with those around us, and nurture peace in our hearts. Proper communication not only brings happiness to others but also helps us find tranquility and profound meaning in life. Dear friends, life is not always smooth sailing. There are days when we feel weighed down by the burdens of difficulties and adversities. Yet, the Buddha taught, suffering is an inseparable part of life, but how we face it determines the peace within our hearts. To overcome challenges, we don't merely need physical strength or talent but, most importantly, wisdom, patience, and understanding of our true nature. Difficulties are not enemies but teachers that help us grow, learn to live mindfully, and and appreciate happiness when it comes. When facing adversity, the key is not to avoid it but to learn how to perceive it correctly. The Buddha once likened adversity to a fire. If we know how to control it, the fire becomes a source of warmth and growth. But if we allow anger, sadness, or fear to take over, the fire will consume everything, both externally and internally. How we confront difficulties shapes not only our present life but also our future. The first step to overcoming hardship is learning to accept reality. The Buddha taught, suffering arises from attachment. Only by letting go can we truly see the essence of happiness. Often, our pain doesn't come from the difficulty itself but from how we resist it, thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" or "I don't deserve this." Try to view adversity from a different perspective. Every difficulty carries a lesson within. Sometimes, we only realize our strength when facing significant challenges. Like a seedling that grows roots deeper into the soil during storms, we also learn resilience through hardships. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up, it means ceasing complaints and focusing on solutions. To practice acceptance, meditation can be a powerful tool. Spend a few minutes daily in stillness, observing your thoughts and emotions. Acknowledge that all feelings are impermanent, like clouds passing through the sky. They come and they go, you don't need to be swept away by them. By observing things as they are, you'll find peace within yourself. One of the most potent tools to overcome difficulties is mindfulness. The Buddha taught, those who remain mindful amid adversity can find light in darkness. Mindfulness is not just awareness but being fully present in each moment without letting the mind drift into worries about the past or future. When faced with challenges, focus on your breath. Feel each inhalation and exhalation. This practice not only calms the mind but also soothes negative emotions. When the mind is calm, clarity emerges. For example, when confronted with a difficult situation, instead of reacting impulsively, pause and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what is truly happening here? What can I do to improve this situation without harming myself or others? This mindfulness will guide you to make wise decisions instead of impulsive ones. Hardships often lead us to self-blame or feelings of loneliness. During such times, compassion is the strength that helps us persevere. The Buddha taught, compassion is not only for others but also a light that warms your own soul. Learn to love and be gentle with yourself, even when you feel like you've failed. Compassion also fosters connections with others. Don't try to tackle every difficulty alone. Open your heart to share with family, friends, or trusted individuals. Support from others not only lightens your burden but also reminds you that you're not alone. For instance, when feeling lost, reach out to a close friend and say, "I'm struggling and need help." The companionship of others becomes a great source of motivation to keep moving forward. Every challenge holds an opportunity for growth. The Buddha taught, suffering is a staircase to wisdom. Instead of viewing difficulties as obstacles, see them as tests that uncover your inner strength and teach new skills. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I use this experience to become stronger? By changing your perspective, every hardship becomes lighter. Just like a diamond forms under pressure, we, too, become more radiant through challenges. In the most challenging times, hope is the most valuable asset we can hold on to. The Buddha said, "Do not let today's darkness overshadow tomorrow's light." Hope not only keeps us moving forward, but also provides the energy to endure the toughest moments. Seek solace in small joys, a beautiful morning, a smile from a loved one, or a peaceful moment during meditation. These little things, though seemingly insignificant, can inspire you to keep going. Remember, every storm will pass, and each difficulty overcome Instead, they are milestones that help us grow. Through acceptance, mindfulness, compassion, and hope, we can overcome any adversity and find peace within our hearts. The Buddha taught, adversity is where wisdom begins. So, view each challenge as an opportunity to discover your true strength and come closer to happiness and enlightenment. Always remember, you are not alone. Every step you take and every difficulty you overcome is a testament to your strength and patience. Let hardships motivate you to live a meaningful and fulfilling life. Dear friends, the journey we've just undertaken reflects deeply on the value of communication, overcoming difficulties, and cultivating compassion in life. These are not merely principles to live by but are guiding lights that help us navigate the ebbs and flows of existence. The Buddha once said, happiness is not the absence of suffering but the way we face and transform it. Thus, while we cannot expect a life devoid of challenges, we can indeed learn to walk through every adversity with peace and wisdom. Let us reflect on what we have shared. Communication is not merely words but a way to connect with each other through compassion and understanding. Every word, action, and even silence, when done with mindfulness, carries the power to build and heal. Similarly, difficulties are an inevitable part of life, but they are not meant to defeat us. Instead, they are opportunities for us to grow stronger, mature, and delve deeper into our true nature. Always remember that everything in life happens for a reason. Each challenge, each moment of suffering, carries a valuable lesson. When we learn to accept, love, and transform, we not only overcome but also discover inner strength and profound peace. Let me share a story with you. One day, a traveler came across a monk meditating by a stream. The traveler lamented that his life was filled with suffering and trials, leaving him unable to continue his journey. The monk gazed at him with compassion and said, "Lay down your pain here, let the stream wash it away. But before you do, ask yourself, is this pain truly brought by life, or by the way you hold on to it?" The answer isn't about blaming oneself, but realizing that the real strength lies in how we choose to face life. Dear friends, this story serves as a reminder that no matter how challenging life may be, the power to overcome resides within us. Our mind is like a river. When the water is clear, we can see the bottom. When the mind is still, we can discern the essence of every problem and find the most enlightened path forward. Dear friends, what we've shared isn't just theoretical but practical wisdom meant to be applied every day. Start with the smallest actions. In communication, speak words of love, listen with your heart, and use silence as a tool for understanding. In life, when difficulties arise, remember that you are not alone. Practice mindfulness, seek support from loved ones, and always nurture hope. If you need motivation to begin, dedicate just a few minutes each day to meditation. Focus on your breath and cultivate awareness of yourself. Reflect on the good in your life, no matter how small, and cherish it. Remember, every small step is part of a greater journey. Spread what you've learned. Share kind words and inspire those around you. Positive communication not only enhances your relationships but can also transform the lives of others. Let your words and actions be a beacon of light for those who feel lost. Dear friends, this journey doesn't end here. What we've learned today is only the beginning of a mindful life filled with compassion and wisdom. The Buddha once said, "The longest journey is the journey inward." Continue that journey each day, each moment, to find true peace and happiness. We hope these insights will serve as a source of inspiration in your life. If you find this content helpful, share it with your friends, family, and loved ones. Don't forget to follow the channel to explore more meaningful lessons from Buddhist teachings. Always remember, each of us has the strength to overcome difficulties and create a better life. Peace and Dhamma will always be here to accompany you on your path toward peace and enlightenment. Thank you and see you in the next video.